Hello from the homestead on a rainy morning. Before we do anything else, I would like to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. This is episode number 216 of a show that provides insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. Today's Friday, October 29th, 2021. And I'd like to begin the episode with a quote by Langston Hughes. I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go, if you really want to go. That quote has always stood out to me, and I wanted to share it with you this morning, especially with the way that it came up. Getting a late start this morning, a little later than usual, because I had a late night last night, a little later than usual. And this is all going to provide some backstory and context to the topic of today's show, which is, do you really want to go? All right, so one more time, that quote from Langston Hughes goes as follows. Quote, I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go, if you really want to go. Close quote. Now again, part of the reason why I had a late night was because of the church council meeting. And I am the treasurer for the church. And for those of you who may be new, who haven't listened to every episode, this is something that I've talked about in the past, and I might as well provide a little bit of backstory on that as well, so everything makes sense. Because today's episode and how the dialogue ties into that, do you really want to go? It's kind of a long, interconnected spider web of a story. And it'll all make sense in the end, I assure you. So, when I joined this church back in 2019, just a couple of years ago, one of the reasons why I wanted to get back into, or just, I say get back into, I've never really been part of a church outside of my childhood. And as an adult, I've never actively participated and sought out membership within a church. So this was entirely new to me. But in going through the process of Financial Peace University, I wanted to do exactly that, and I did. And as soon as I was, quote, in, I wanted to inquire within the church about hosting and coordinating a Financial Peace University class, rather than continue to participate in them. So I did, and there were some health problems with the current treasurer, and he passed away. And after a while, we had a pretty good turnout for our first in-person class. There were 15 people there, and it was wonderful. Collectively, we paid off tens of thousands of dollars of debt just in a period of 9 weeks. And they thought that because I was a Financial Peace University guy, that I'd make a good fit for a treasurer. And I made it very clear that I didn't have any experience, that I didn't know what I was doing, but I'd do my best to learn and try, and they assured me that that would be fine. And over the course of this year, basically the duration of me being the treasurer of the church, the financial director has also left. She retired, and a new financial director was hired, who also happens to be the owner of a local pizza shop in town right on the corner of the square, which is pretty cool. And he's also a really good guy. And he's been making a lot of changes, utilizing a software program that we never really utilized. There's a lot of similarities with the day job, like changes that he wants to implement with software that's currently being utilized, but nowhere near its full capacity. That sounds interesting to me. And but previously there was never anyone that was interested in doing it, and luckily everybody's receptive to the change. So I was kind of expecting him to be at this church council meeting last night, and that was actually what he alluded to in his email as well, right? So I didn't do a whole lot of preparing for it. I reviewed the financial report. Things were looking good. Nothing to be overly concerned about unless somebody raised some concerns, and then we could address them. But at this point in time, everything's all good. Income was down. Expenses were way down to kind of offset that. So no worries. Some other things, but I didn't. Needless to say, and there's a lot of work being done on and with this software program behind the scenes. But I don't know the full extent of that because I'm not there, and I don't want to say it doesn't concern me, but I'm just not that involved with it. And when we had the council meeting, Jeff was not there. Apparently he's been busy working on the presentation for part of this, which he's going to discuss with the congregation on Sundays. So when it came to deliver the finance report, it was up to me to do, and I was not prepared. So when I got up, there, grabbed the microphone, and I'm talking, and I'm trying to project my voice loud enough because using the microphone feels awkward, and I'm not delivering very well on my printout with the bullet points. Trying to somewhat be casual and play it cool, but I suspect as I was up there talking, it really seemed awkward, and because I was not utilizing the microphone very well, the whole presentation and delivery came off somewhat odd, even though at the very end I reassured everyone that if there were any questions or concerns that they could simply bring them to my attention and I would make sure that we got the answer. Which in my mind is a great thing to do, but if I would have kept it short and sweet and then ended with that, I would have sounded a lot more cool, calm, and collected, and a bit more professional. But I also was still dressed from the day job in dirty Carhartts and a ratty old black sweatshirt that I've been wearing almost every day for 5 years. And I don't know. I'm under the impression that that I look like the blue-collar schlub that's in this position that doesn't really know what I'm doing and doesn't have a full understanding or grasp of what in the hell is going on? And, that's really where I began thinking last night. And I sat down and journaled a little bit towards the end of the night. And I was thinking that yesterday's show topic was, do you feel crabby? And I was going to follow it up with feeling stupid. And I actually wrote that down as the show topic. That would be today's show. And then I got to thinking, and I said, no, I'm not feeling stupid. I made it very clear to everyone what my experience and comfort levels were going into this. I didn't seek this out. I was put in this position because I was nominated to be in it by the council of which I am a member. And if anything, I should feel proud that I have the opportunity to represent the church and continue trying to learn more so that I can do so better. Because apparently there may be times when I have to deliver, and this is a good opportunity for me to learn. And part of the reason why I took this position and accepted it in the first place was because I'm hoping to be running a business or businesses in the future, or at least participating in them on a deeper level, and to have a better understanding of financial operations through the role of a treasurer, reading books and networking with accountants in order to learn more. I'll be in a much better position down the road when I get into a point where I have to do some behind the scenes work on a business, right? So, a 2-year term at the minimum is fine while I'm figuring all this out, while I'm still working through baby step 3, working up in my savings, and now working on my health. This is a good place to be, hanging out at my day job for the next, year minimum, working as the treasurer for the next year minimum. You see how I reframed all that? This all began with me saying, well, you were feeling crabby yesterday, so today we're going to talk about feeling stupid. You ever feel stupid? Let me tell you about how I feel stupid. And sure, that might be relatable, and that might be some content that some people might be interested in. But no longer is that kind of self-deprecating talk something that I'm going to engage in. And when I catch myself doing it, like I did last night, I'm going to correct. And this is something that was brought to my attention by my former health coach, Yvette Davis. You can check her out at msquill.com. That's msquill.com, Quill. And when she offered me some health coaching services for a period of time. She is also a member of the 48 Days community, and based on some things that I had written and shared, she felt compelled to reach out to me because she does coaching work, oftentimes specific to those who deal with chronic conditions, and it was wonderful. We had this very nice connection, and I had no idea what to expect with a health coach, and I expected that we would be talking about health, like diet and things like that, sleep and, exercise, things that you would normally consider to go part and parcel with, health. But from our very first meeting, she mentioned there were 2 things that she observed and identified that and suggested that I work on. Number one, she made an observation about my anger. And we wanted to talk about where that was coming from. And ultimately what I could do about it so that it would impact me in a less negative way, or what I could do to, you know what I mean? But second of all, the other thing that she noticed that I was doing a lot of was engaging in this negative talk. Well, if it wasn't so stupid, X, Y, Z. Well, if I didn't, well, this was dumb. Well, this and that was dumb. I'm in a holding pattern here while I wait for the guys. We've got a semi here, and there's a little mini truck parked in my way, so I can't really do anything. But where I was going with this was that give me a sec, guys. I'm okay. There they go. I'm just sitting in the driveway waiting for them to move the mini truck. We drive these Japanese mini trucks, Daihatsus, Mitsubishis, and they're just hilarious little things, little 3-cylinder bomber vehicles. I'm going to say good morning to the guys here before I wrap up, so bear with me, guys. 1 second. Buenos dias, guys! So I know that this seemed like it was maybe a little bit all over the map, but like I said, how I tied this all together was the original show topic that I thought of last night was going to be feeling stupid, but I decided to repattern that thought process, which is something that we talked about yesterday in the Feeling Crabby episode, about choosing how we think. And as soon as that thought crossed my mind, the prompt for the day, the little quote in the morning, or the little quote of the beginning of the page here of the Best Self Journal, was that Langston Hughes quote that I began the show with. I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go, if you really want to go. So do you really want to go? Do you really want to achieve the goals that you have, the dreams that you have? Or do you just like to talk about them and set those goals and dreams that you'll never accomplish because they're fun to talk about? That's a hard question, but it's really something to consider. What are your goals and why? And do you want them? Because there are ways of getting there if you really want to go. And the most interesting part about this quote is that when I jumped on Facebook, reactivated my account a couple of weeks ago, this is actually my cover photo. I really believe in this quote. I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go, if you really want to go. Think about that, guys. There are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go, if you really want to go. So do you really want to go? I'll leave you to think about that on this Friday, October 29th, 2021. And in closing, I would like to encourage you to check out the show notes. You can find links to the Best Self Journal where I found this quote. And there will also be links to all past episodes for easy reference, links to how to rate and review the podcast in Apple Podcasts. And why that's important is that helps affect the algorithm, helps expose new listeners to the show. So if you like what you hear, I would definitely encourage you to check out the show notes and watch that link. It's a quick 1-minute video. It's relevant now because more than 50% of the listens come through the Apple platform. But the podcast game is changing. I look forward to seeing how the changes play out in the future and how the podcast factors into that. There's a lot to learn. And if you're learning with me and you're not already there, I would encourage you to jump on the Telegram chat group with the rest of us, t.me/allaroundgrowth. And you can join in positive, healthy, beneficial conversation with the rest of us. It's a great place to be. Look forward to seeing you there. I hope you have a great weekend. And we'll see you on Monday, guys. Which will, strangely enough, be the 1st of November. Oh, and real quick, speaking of the 1st of November, we're coming up on the end of the year, and I just downloaded something that I'm maybe going to talk about on Monday. And I'll link to that in the show notes as a little teaser. But it's a 2022 goal-setting workbook that you can get absolutely free as part of this whole 48 days community that I'm talking about. This is a way to get a little taste of the action, if you will, at no charge. So check the show notes out for that as well. And now I'm going to go trudge through the rain and the mud and begin my day at the day job. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.